What's up, guys? What an interesting weekend. Bitcoin absolutely dumped. We have more and more recession fears. We have the Bitcoin miners just absolutely tanked. And Bitcoin had its worst day since the FTX collapse back in 2022. Now, I've got a quick question. What were you guys doing back in 22 during all this fear? When FTX was going under? When you had people like Peter Schiff, who I'll talk about in this video, extremely bearish, saying that Bitcoin was a terrible investment. He basically marked the bottom. And we have some words from Peter Schiff again. I'll leave you guys this article down below, but Peter Schiff, bearish on Bitcoin, are you surprised? But this article, he basically says, get ready, we're going to get more liquidations from the ETFs. The ETF holders are not real hodlers, and they will be very shocked when they see Bitcoin drop like this. And that'll trigger even more sell-off. Bitcoin ETF buyers are not long-term hodlers. They have also never experienced losses of this size in Bitcoin. This will be a rude awakening, especially since they were told Bitcoin was a safe haven, a store of value. If those people that bought these ETFs have never looked back at Bitcoin's chart, that's their own fault if they panic sell. Yes, these 30% and up corrections are very normal for Bitcoin, even in a bull cycle. He goes on to say, in terms of real gold, which is the best way to measure its price, it's down 34% since hitting its high in November 2021. Bitcoin has been in a major bear market for almost 3 years, and hodlers don't realize it. Really? Well, here's a Bitcoin versus gold chart that was actually dedicated to Peter Schiff. Check this out. And while this isn't entirely fair, this is Bitcoin from the very beginning. Gold has already been around for a long time. But it's also disingenuous for Peter Schiff to say Bitcoin's been in a bear market based on gold over the last 3 years. Let me show you some fun old quotes from Peter Schiff back in the last bear market, the actual bear market, 2022. He talks about grayscale and how it's trading at a discount. Look at where Bitcoin was. Bitcoin trading at 16,700. Shareholders of GBTC were willing to sell their Bitcoin for the equivalent of 9,500. What does that tell you about retail and institutional investor confidence in Bitcoin? Look at when he posted this. This was so near the bottom. I bet you he's kicking himself now for posting something like this. Instead of saying, you know what, I think I'll pick up a little bit of Bitcoin. 15,000, 20,000, 10,000. What's the difference if the 4-year cycles continue to play out and Bitcoin does what it's always done since the start? And if you would have taken his advice in 2022 and bought gold, you would have missed Bitcoin's run from 15,000 to the 70,000s, roughly a 4 or 5x. The supply of cryptocurrencies is soaring as demand for cryptos is collapsing. Well, yeah, we were in 2022. If you follow the cycles, you would have known this was coming. You would have known this was a buying opportunity. Over the past year, the supply of cryptos grew by around 50% to around 22,000 crypto. And that's another good reason to, focus more solely on Bitcoin and the top alts. There is a lot of crap out there. And there is such a thing as oversaturation. During that same time period, the combined market cap fell by about 73%. Bitcoin mania is over. Buy gold. He literally marked the bottom with this tweet. Hindsight is literally 2020. This was back in 2022. Look at where the price was at the time of this article. Bitcoin was right near its bottom. And we have Peter Schiff saying, I told you so. What great timing, huh? Remember, when the crypto skeptics are saying, I told you so, usually that's a good indicator to start buying. When the bears seem like the ball's in their court and they're right, you usually want to take advantage. When the bulls seem like they're right and Bitcoin seems to be going to 100K, seems to be going to these crazy price targets, 500,000 this cycle, whatever. When people are making those predictions, when you see Bitcoin continuing to blast off, showing that it's overbought on the weekly, monthly, daily, so on and so forth, there is definitely time to take profits either on Bitcoin or at least the Bitcoin miners. There is volatility. There is going to be run-ups and pullbacks. We have seen this in every cycle. Let's look back at the 2016 cycle. And when you see this, you might just be like, oh, wow, it just went straight up and to the right. Let's zoom a little bit, huh? What did we see? We saw these huge corrections along the way. 30% plus corrections. Here's one, 30% roughly. Here's another one, 37%. What about here? Peak to trough, 40% nearly. What about here? This quick flash crash that everyone probably panic sold and missed the rest of the run all the way to 20,000 nearly from 7,000. So this fear, this panic that brought it all the way down to 5,000 and it went 4x from there. There was people getting shaken out. And this was the post-halving year. This is when things are getting hot and heavy. This is at the very end. What about the 2020 cycle? Well, we had the 2020 crash before the halving. Keep that in mind. This is a blip. This looks like nothing, but this was like a 50% crash. What else? Back here, 2021, we saw 30% correction. Back here around all the FTX stuff, maybe FTX was selling against the market. We saw like a 55% correction. Bitcoin will rip and dip. To me, all you have to do is follow the cycles. We are in an overall bull market, and we have since 2023. The 4-year cycles are still playing out. And from the top till now, we are right around a 30% drop. We had a bearish divergence here on the daily. We had higher highs, but we had lower highs on the RSI, and we did break our huge ascending channel. Look at how the market reacted to this break, and also this previous support. The combination of this 61,000 support and the break of this channel that brought even more sell-off. We found support a hair under 50,000. That'll be an important level. If we do retest it, we will have to see a bounce. Otherwise, we're seeing new lower levels. And if you follow this longer term trend that we've been in, it's entirely possible for Bitcoin to come down into the low 40s. Do I think it's going to? Not necessarily. But is it possible? Absolutely. If you follow our long-term trend, we did get a little extended here. We did become very oversold on both the daily and the 4-hour. The weekly has more room to the downside. And I know this is only the hourly, but we do have a bullish divergence on the hourly. It would be nice to see it on longer term time frames. But this is a good start. You have higher lows on the RSI and you have lower lows on the chart, indicating that we may be looking at a reversal soon. So when you see these drops like this, you got to take advantage. If you believe Bitcoin is still in a bull market, if you believe Bitcoin will top out in 2025 still and follow its cycle like it always has, you want to take advantage of this short-term fear. We'll probably hear about MicroStrategy buying more. We'll probably hear about BlackRock loading up, and we will continue to hear Peter Schiff being bearish, when in reality, he should have bought Bitcoin instead of gold. Now, let me know if you guys are selling. Are you starting to panic? Are you worried the cycle won't play out? Are you going to sell in hopes of buying lower down the road this year? Or are you just going to avoid crypto for the rest of this cycle? With Bitcoin at its current price, we only need roughly $22.5 million put into Bitcoin to eat up the supply. That is pocket change. That is nothing. The halving cycle will always work its magic, and I do believe we are about to see that within months. But what are you guys doing today? Are you taking advantage of some of the Bitcoin miners? Are you selling puts against them? Are you taking profits on them here and exiting, taking losses on them here and exiting? At these prices, I believe the miners are fantastic buys. I'm always curious what you guys are picking up. Let me know down below. Thanks as always, guys, and I'll see you next time.